class. I am so excited that you are watching this video. I hope it helps you out a lot. All right, so today we are talking about multiplying fractions. What I would love for you to do right now is to get out your math book and open that up to page 187. All right, so I know what you're thinking. Why do I need to know how to multiply fractions? When will I ever use it? I'll tell you, all the time. Example. The other day I was in my kitchen about to make chocolate chip cookies. Getting out my ingredients, got to the bag of chocolate chips. I only had half of a bag of chocolate chips, but the recipe called for an entire bag of chocolate chips. What was I going to do? Luckily, I know how to multiply fractions, so I was able to take that recipe and boom, cut it in half and still have cookies. I am going to teach you how to do the same thing today. All right, so let's just pretend that the original recipe that I had that called for the entire bag of chocolate chips also called for, let's say it called for 3/4 cup sugar. Let's say it called for half a cup of brown sugar. Let's say it called for 2/3 cup of flour and say 1/3 cup of butter. Okay. Now, because I only had half of a bag of chocolate chips, I needed to also take all of these ingredients and cut them in half. Okay? So let's take a look first at what these fractions actually look like, and let's pretend that I am doing this evenly. All right, so 3/4. So if we took that and drew that out, that would look like this, okay? The denominator is telling me how many total parts I have. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 total parts. Now the numerator is telling me how many of those parts I am concerned with. I am concerned with 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Okay? That is what 3/4 actually looks like. If we did a half, all right, 2 total parts, right? Because that's the denominator is showing 2 total parts. I am only concerned with 1 part, right? Numerator says 1, only concerned with 1. Let's color that in. All right, 2/3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I've got 3 total parts, but I'm only concerned with 2 of those. 1, 2, and on 1/3, I've got 3 total parts again, but this time I'm only concerned with 1 part. All right, does that make sense? That is what all of those fractions actually look like. Now, on my recipe, since I am cutting it in half, let's actually cut this in half. So I would just draw a line straight across to cut it in half. So I no longer have 4 total parts, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 total parts now. When I am taking half of 3/4, I am only concerned though with the part colored in, right? The numerator. I'm only concerned with the part we colored in. I need half of that part, half of the part colored in. So the parts colored in, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need half of that. So that would be these 3 up here. Okay, so half of 3/4 would be 3/8. Okay, let's take a look at 1/2. If I just drew a line cutting that whole thing in half, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 total parts. Only concerned with the part I've colored in though. So 1, 2 parts colored in. I need half of that. If we colored in one of those, it would just be 1. On this one, if I cut this in half, all right, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total parts. Only looking at the parts I've got colored in, I need half of those. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 colored in parts. I need half of that. Half of 4 would be these 2 right here. All right, so that would be a 2. And on this one, cut it in half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only looking at the parts I've got colored in, I need half of those. Well, I've got 1, 2 colored in, so 1 of those would be half. So 1/6 would be half of 1/3. Does that make sense? Now, I could draw that out every time I needed to, but if I'm cooking and needed to have a recipe, that could take forever. There must be a quicker way to do that, right? There is. All right, so let's take a look. When I say the word of, like 1/2 of 3/4, what I'm really saying is times. It's the same thing. If you were reading a word problem and it said 1/2 of 3/4, what that's telling you to do is multiply that together. Of means times, multiply, okay? So if we wrote that out, it would be 1/2, if I changed the word of to times, 1/2 times 3/4. Now, we multiply this together. When we added fractions, when we subtracted fractions, if we had unlike denominators, like we have here, we had to find the least common denominator and make equivalent fractions. Do you remember that? The good news is when we multiply fractions, we don't have to do that. All we have to do when we multiply fractions is to multiply straight across the numerators and straight across the denominators. And that's it. Okay, easy peasy. So this would look like 1 times 3, 2 times 4. Okay, 1 times 3 would be 3. 2 times 4 would be 8. Is it the same thing we got up here? Yes, it is. Boom. Isn't that so much easier? Awesome. Okay, let's take a look at the second one. I needed 1/2 of 1/2. If I change that wording to say 1/2 times 1/2, okay, that would look like this. Remember, straight across the numerators, straight across the denominators, multiplying those together. 1 times 1, 2 times 2. All right, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. Is it the same? Yes, it is. All right, awesome job. Let's look at the next one. I needed 1/2 of 2/3. 1/2 times 2/3. All I've got to do is go straight across the numerators, straight across the denominators, multiplying those together. 1 times 2, 2 times 3. All right, 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Now, is that my final answer? I hope you're out there saying, no, Miss Durham, that's not the final answer. Ha! Why? Why is it not my final answer? Because I can reduce that, right? All right, so do you remember when we reduced fractions? What did we do? We needed to find that greatest common factor. The greatest common factor, the largest number that we can divide both of those by. It has to be the same number. We had to do the same thing to the bottom and the top, remember? So what is the greatest common factor here? What number can I divide both of those by? I know you know. 2. All right. If I divided both of those by 2, I would get 1/3. Yes, I know you were out there saying that. Awesome job. So that would be the same thing that we got there. Awesome. Now let's take a look at 1/2 of or times 1/3. All right, go straight across the numerators. 1 times 1, straight across denominators. 2 times 3. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Is it the same? Yes. Boom. Done. It. Can't reduce that one anymore. It's as slow as it'll go. Oh, awesome job. I am so proud of you guys. All right. Let's take a look in your book, page 187. Let's look under class practice on 1A. All right, that is actually the exact same thing we just did. Let's just go ahead and do it again though. So that was 1/2 times, 2/3. Okay? Again, just go straight across the numerators, straight across the denominators. 1 times 2, 2 times 3. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Remember to reduce. We just did this one, but we divided both of those by 2 because that was the greatest common factor. And that gave us 1/3. Awesome job. All right, now let's take a look at 1b. All right, so 1b says 2/5 times 1/4. All right, take a minute, think about it. What do we do? Think about it. I know you know. We're just going to go straight across numerators, straight across denominators, multiplying those numbers together. 2 times 1, 5 times 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 4 is 20. Am I done? Can I take that lower? Yes, I can. What is my greatest common factor? What can I divide both of those numbers by? The greatest number, the biggest number that I can divide both of those by. 2. All right. If I divided both of those by 2, that would give me a 1 and 10. 1/10. That is as low as I can go. I am done. That is the final answer. All right, let's take a look at one more. All right, C says 2/5 times 2/5. Okay, again, straight across the numerators, straight across denominators, multiply those two numbers together. 2 times 2, 5 times 5. All right, 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 5 is 25. Can I take that down? Can I reduce? No, I cannot. There is no number that I can divide both of those by that's the same number. Awesome job. That's it. I'm done. Wow. Awesome job, guys. I'm so proud of you. All right, what I would love for you to do right now, if you can, is to try to do 1D, E, F, G, and H on your own. Try your hardest. I believe in you. I know you can do this. If you need help, ask somebody there with you. Jump on that video conference with me or give me a call. I am here for you. I believe in you. I know you have this. I know you can do it. Please remember our class superpower, the power of yet. You may not know how to do this yet, but you will. All right. Have an awesome day. I will be back tomorrow with another awesome video for you. Bye.